Hello, this is Anna Imagination with Psych Soup. I have two topics to discuss today. Actually, one topic, but this particular video right off, I'm going to address where I left off yesterday. My daughter was going through a perspective shift, and it is the first time I was able to witness my daughter actually going through the stages of the perspective shift as outlined in Triadic Healing. And I was able to track her progress, watch her go through it, explain to her what was going on with her processing. And I was able to handle it with absolute extraordinary discipline because I was aware of what was going on with her. 6 months ago, it would have de evolved into a screaming fest. 6 months ago, it would have de evolved into a screaming fest. A year ago, it would have been a blown out fight that would have lasted into the next day, complete with slamming doors. Today, it was amazing. It was sitting there watching her go through this and giving her the space she needs, understanding that it wasn't personal, that it was just her arguing with her internal system, what she wanted, what her identity wanted, and what her fear system was afraid of. And it was actually a dialogue that was taking place between her identity and her fear system. It was extraordinary. And it was just amazing. And there was one point it ended and she stomped off, and I was able to immediately just step back, process, and understand how her cognitive core was going through this flow of thought while I allowed myself to remain steadfast, calm, and my perspective was already shifted and everything was fine. We realized that we both assumed, and the assumption gave us both false perspectives. I'm going to do a whole thing on assumption later today and how assumptions can do tamper with our perspectives because we fail to get appropriate information to iron out a proper and an accurate perspective. Basically, assumption is when we forecast a perspective improperly. So we have that. The flip side of all of this, and this is something I am really, really excited about, is at the end of it all, I watched the point where she came back into the kitchen. She was calm. She was a little pouty, but she was definitely much better, more optimistic. And the perspective had been accepted. She had done the inventory, and she was in the stage of depression, that final stage before acceptance, where she actually sat down and started talking to me about it. And we were able to identify her concerns, not the so her fear system had taken everything to improbable fiction, and she was going about, we don't have the space, this is the problem, this is the problem. That's her fear system firing off, going off with all of these massive improbable fictions. Once she got through the anger stage and she settled down into this other stage of depression, then she was able to come back to me with acceptance of, okay, I just did the inventory. I have found all I did all the losses and all the gains. And then she started explaining it all to me. She's like, these are my concerns. And she started listening all of her concerns. And I was able to soothe and reassure each one of these concerns, which in turn goes to and connected to each and every one of her improbable fictions that had mitigated down to this. So we were actually able to get to the core. And because it was her fear system I was working with, and I knew this, I knew the solution was soothe and reassure. Soothe and reassure. So I did. I soothed and I reassured her that, look, this is ABC, this is what that's going to look like. And then she started, this is beautiful, she started coming up with solutions. She's like, well, I guess he can sleep here. I guess we can put him here until. And I'm like, there you go. Okay. So things really calmed down a lot. I saw massive improvement. It was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary to see this process going. So we're going to call this experiment one an absolute success. I am thrilled. My son should be here this afternoon today. I imagine he'll be here anywhere between 2 or 5, maybe 7 o'clock tonight. So I'll have to go into the city and pick him up. But on the scale of the spiral dynamics, both my son and my daughter are a 5. My oldest is a 4. And I know she's going to get to a point where she's in 4 and she's going to hate it and she's going to jump to a 5. I know this about her. Like, she is not. Yeah, no, I see her definitely blowing 4 out of the water. She's already, yeah. If you think conspiracy theory ever in your brain, if you ever have a moment of, can I trust the government? You are not meant for a 4. You are not meant to be a 4. You will reject 4 so fast. If you have a second, just a moment of not trusting the government, you do not belong at 4. 4s do not trust, or 4s love and idolize the governments. So when you look at the spiral dynamics, and I loved it. I found this information like 3 days ago, and I was like, oh my God, it was just this, to see it so articulate. It's like, for me, this is knowledge that it's just kind of common knowledge, because it's observational knowledge. It's knowledge that I observed, but I didn't articulate it and I didn't sit down and write it all out. Somebody else did. So I was able to just read it and go, yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, that checks out. And it was beautiful. So the Graves spiral dynamics is stunning. And by the way, the Graves spiral dynamics is 8 levels of human evolution. This is not human as in mankind. This is one individual. So when we are born at level 1. There are 8 levels total, with definitely pending, like once we get past level 8, and there's going to be more, and somebody's going to come along, and maybe me, and track the next stages. But there's definitely level 9, but no one's reached level 9 yet. So when you get to level 6, 1 through 6 is basically inside the matrix. Level 7 and 8 is outside of the matrix. And levels 1 through 6, you are living according to what the system wants you to see. Levels 7 and 8 sees outside of the system and they understand it. Which is why anyone who reaches 7 and 8 goes, oh my God, we are in the matrix. And it's like this whole blown, oh my God. It's because the system controls people who live within 1 through 6. And once you get to level 7 and 8, you are no longer in the patriarchy. You've identified it all, you've rejected it, and now you're 7 and 8. So once you leave the system, you're a 7. And then once you polish it off and you extend to that next level, yeah, you're an 8. That's when you can see the field. That's when you see how energy all is connected, and how the 1s play a part, the 4s play a part, the 5s play a part, the 6s play a part. Everyone has their part. The 3s play a part. Everyone is vital to the system. And the day that I reached the point of everyone needs to shut up, that was the day I crossed from 7 over to 8. That was the evolution of 7 to 8, because the 8s say, I don't want to hear anybody. No. The 6s are obsessed about making sure everyone's opinion gets heard. I remember. And that was my problem, is I was absorbing way too much opinion. And then by the time you get to 7, it's not linear. It's not like a crossover. You toggle. You're a 4 and a 5. You're a mid 5. Then you're a 5 and a 6. So you can be a 5 and a 6 at the same time. So at the moment, I am a 7-8. Like, I am a solid 7-8. And it's extraordinary to see once you see it. My father is a solid 4. My youngest brother is a 2. My stepfather is a 3. My mother's amazing. My mother is a 5. My mother is sick of 4. My mama has been sick of 4 for a long time. And my mom is finally at a point where she is like, I'm getting out of here. No, she's 60. And she is finally at a point where she doesn't know how to escape her slave owner, her husband, her master. And because her master, level 3, doesn't want her to do X, she won't. And so she's like toggling this, but she's definitely a 5. And she's struggling. It's something that she really fights with. So, yeah, it's really, really extraordinary when you look at this massive, massive picture. When you look at it, it's extraordinary to see how people evolve. So triadic healing is basically how to evolve from all of these different levels. It's the how to go from a level 1 or a 2 all the way up to level 8. I close it off at level 6. I don't let people have levels 7 and 8 until I know they're a level 6, because you have to have a mindset in place at level 6 to gain access to outside of the matrix. So the triadic healing is literally the step-by-step what I did psychologically, philosophy, mentally, and one moment, and holistically, what I did to go from 1 to 6. And then I did an expansion pack of manifestation that got me from 7 up to 8. So Dr. Graves is the psychologist who put the spiral dynamics together and the value levels. And then triadic healing shows you how to do it. So if you're wanting to level up, and that's what a lot of people see themselves. I don't know why this is, I do know why this is common knowledge, because if you have this information, the end goal is to get out of the matrix. And the system says, oh, we don't want people leaving the matrix. So they deliberately remove it from our education system. So we don't know that this exists. So we don't know to go and do it. But this is information that's been available since the 70s. So once you hit level 5 and 6, and it's extraordinary stuff. But so basically, once you realize where you are in the spectrum, and there's some people who are very happy being a 3. There's some people who are very happy being a 4. I watched a webinar video the other day, and I loved what she said. It was hilarious. She goes, you're not going to find many 3s looking to improve themselves. Narcissists are 3s. Narcissists are 3s. Narcissists are the aggressive, it's my way or the highway. Narcissists are 3s. Most of us have been abused by 3s. Most of us have been abused by 3s. Like abuse happens. That's aggression. Now you can be a 3 and you can be an empath. You can be a non-aggressive 3. But for the most part, all the narcissists are at 3. All of them. Like there's no getting out of it. The people who switch are the 5s who jump back down to a 3 because they're a narcissist. But once you get to levels 6, mental illness stops. There is no mental illness after 6. Once you get to level 6, you cannot get to level 6 until you get mentally healthy. You can't. It's cut off from you. So, and this is what happened to me is when I reached I went, I want to heal. So I healed. I got to level 6, and then I went, oh. And this is the best part. Therapists are usually levels 3 and 4. Usually they're level 4s. Yeah, they're 4s. And they're walking around telling people, oh, you can't be cured. There's no cure for mental illness. But they're a level 4. And they never made it to 6. So when you get to 6, you go, oh, holy shit. There is a cure. It does end. Yeah, no shit. But they never evolved past level 4. If they did, they wouldn't be therapists. See that? So once you understand how the spiral dynamics works, it's now a question of how far do you want to take your evolution? Now, I can't speak for everybody. For me, I'm going all the way. I'm going to take this as far as I can. I'm going to spend the rest of my life taking this as far as I can because, well, that's me. I want to be better. I always want to be better. So if you value self-improvement, if you value wanting to be better, this is the information you need. And it's all laid out in this gorgeous map. And this is the beautiful thing is we move as a society. Now this is individually. Now let's step back and look at the whole society as a whole. The society as a whole, when we say our society is X, it's because the majority of us encompass one of those attitudes and behaviors. Most of us encompass a 4. This world is mostly a 4. And that was the 50s. That was 1950s. It was mostly a 4. And then in the 60s, it was mostly a 5. The 60s with the hippie movement and the war and 1969 with Woodstock and space, that was 5. That was us at a 5. That's what that looked like. Okay. And then now there's like a 6. We're moving into 6. That's what's happening is most of society is now moving into 6. Now, here's the funny thing. When you get to 6, you stop eating meat. Most of us stop eating meat when you get to a 6. 6 and 7s, 7 and 8, you're vegan, vegetarian, organic. Only like levels 6 and below eat meat because there's a comprehension that animals are our equals and they're part of this world. Now, some people reach these levels, and this is the other thing that the instructor at the webinar said, and I absolutely disagree with this. She's like, you have to do X in order to go on to B. No, you can overlap. People are not cutting. That is black and white thinking. And black and white thinking is also a level 4. If you are a black and white thinking, you are a level 4. That absolutely. Well, that's not true. You can also be black and white thinking with level 5. Not everything's a spectrum. Everything's a spectrum. So yeah, she made a statement that was very black and white, and I do not agree with it. It was, you can't do X until you do B. In some cases where you are abused, you can evolve, but because an abuser is holding you back, you can continue to evolve, but you're trapped by an abuser. So, and I'm certain that that's what happened to me. I'm certain that that's what happens to a lot of people who are abused, is they get abused, they're held back, but they're still evolving. So they're realizing things at levels 5, but a 3 is holding them captive. And once you get to level 6 and you understand fear, the 6s can just blow that out of the water and be like, oh, I got this. I got this. And it's amazing because there were 3 things that really stuck out to me about religion. 2s are very religious based. 4s are very religious based. But the 6, 7, and 8s start talking about trusting the divine, which actually isn't religion at all. 2s are more witchcraft and cult and voodoo. It's a very primitive it's a very primitive religious space. 4s are the second level religious space where the religion, the government is their primary go-to. They are obsessed with religion and Jesus is the most important thing to them. That is your level 4s. Once you get to level 5s, you pull away from that. And you do so with guilt in most cases. By level 6, you learn how to tamper that guilt and you realize that there is the divine and it's a whole nother level. And what's funny is I see a lot of 4s who are tampering with manifestation, which is a level 6. Like you start to get into manifestation. 7 is solid manifestation. 6 is like in this realm, dabbling. But it's really interesting to see how our education system works, how our mind works. It's really fascinating to me. So I was going to say, I've gotten way off topic, and I kind of want to just stop the video here because, no, it ties into it. I'm going to continue. So all of this has been happening to me with the spiral dynamics, and now I've got this massive amount of information that I can plug in. And I have my triadic healing, and I have my experiments now with my children that I've started. And experiment 1 was a success. Now I've been doing this on myself for a solid year now. I've been doing triadic healing on me for a solid year. And I recorded some of them in my blog. So I reported my own, this is what I've noticed, but it wasn't really about triadic healing. It was more about, let me think. It wasn't triadic healing that I was reporting on. It was mostly my mental, this is what I noticed with my mental progress. It was like dissecting each individual mental illness and tackling each individual mental illness. But then with triadic healing, this was my first experiment, and I was able to sit down, track it, watch the arc, and then report on it. So with my son coming here, there's going to be a lot because my son is undisciplined and he is unfamiliar with, I would say he's 50% familiar with my work. Whereas my daughter is very familiar with my work because she doesn't eavesdrop, she says. She listens. She doesn't sneak about it. She listens openly. So that's a trauma response. So I'm basically going to have a lot of information over the next few weeks where I'm going to be able to watch my children interact with each other, and I'm going to be able to manage them and go through look, this is the cognitive core. You have to allow people time to process information when they are given new information. You're having a communication breakdown. You are leading with your fear system right now. And I was saying these things to my daughter yesterday. And because I knew, oh, this is her fear system speaking. You don't respond to fear systems. Do not rationalize with fear systems. You can soothe and reassure a fear system, and that's all you can do. And having this information, being able to exercise it with my children is changing the way I parent. It's extraordinary. And for me to sit down now and do this with myself, it brings in more insight to myself. It's extraordinary stuff. So as you learn triadic healing, you will gain the awareness to better parent. And it's going to skyrocket you through the spiral dynamics. You're going to, and this is it, just by practicing triadic healing, it puts you start to realize, you start to appreciate and become more sensitive to other people. So it's absolutely extraordinary. And here's the thing. I was looking at this more as a marketing when I was looking at it going, okay, who are my people? Who's my clients? My clients are 4s. My clients are 5s. My clients are really 5s. My clients are the entrepreneurs or the people who want to be an entrepreneur. My people are the people who are sick of 4. My people are the people who they have a 9 to 5, they hate the system and they want to escape it. Enter triadic healing. That's exactly what triadic healing does. Oh, you're sick of it now? Let me show you a better way. And that's what I'll show you a different way to live, is because it elevates you from levels 4 to 5, 6, 7, and 8. It like completely takes you 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what triadic healing does. So that all being said, what a 4, somebody who is a solid 4, if you're not sick of being a 4, and I have a few people who they're solid 4s. They have no intention of leaving 4, but they want to be healed. And I'm trying to figure out, I have to figure out how I'm going to handle that. If I'm going to give them my time, honestly, I think it's a matter of waiting. Because all of healing is all on that person. I can guide, I can coach, I can point. I am a map. That's all I am. I'm just the map. You do everything else. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap it up here, because this next level is now I'm going to go talk about level 6 and 7 stuff. I'm going to go talk about 7 and 8 stuff. And I can start putting that in my videos. I'm going to start doing like levels 4, 5, 6. That way, when you're looking at my videos, you can see, oh, this is for material for people who are a level X or a level. And right now I've been talking about overall the spectrum, and this is great for level 5s. But now I'm going to go talk about level 6, 7, and 8. And you're more than welcome to talk about 6, 7, and 8. And that's exactly it. The Witch's Corner is all of my level 6, 7, and 8 stuff. So whenever I have level 6, 7, and 8, that's where I go to. That's where I put it over there. It's absolutely wonderful. When I'm in philosophical studies, when I'm doing the shifting perspectives, now that is a solid 4 or 5. That is a solid 5. I don't think I do anything for 4s. I do nothing for 4s. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I do anything for 4s. So yeah, it's really extraordinary. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down this video, and then I will figure out my system, and then I will launch my next video to explain what it is that I wanted to explain. So thank you so much for joining me. This has been Psych Soup.